and the official vehicle of the
into the field.
Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays. And by Home Hardware, homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Welcome to Angels Stadium, Game 2 of this three-game series. The Angels are taking the field. Tyler Skaggs will start things off for the Angels tonight. The left-hander goes to the mound, having beaten the Blue Jays back in May at Rogers Center. John Gibbons needs a spark in his offense, and he needs somebody to step up. Let's take a look at the lineup for Gibbons tonight against the Angels. Jose Reyes, Steve Tollefson in the two-hole, then Melky Cabrera. And Cabrera, over his last 19 games, has recaptured that stroke we saw early in the season. 25 for his last 75 for Melky Cabrera. He's batting third, and right behind him, Jose Bautista, one of the very few Blue Jays that has hit well against left-handers this year. He's hit .364 with 7 homers and 12 RBIs as a team. The Blue Jays have hit just .229 against lefty pitching this season,
which is dead last in the American League, and they get another one here tonight. Second start and first home start for Tyler Skaggs since coming off the disabled list with a hamstring strain and kept him on the DL for a month. Very impressive. Pitched into the 8th inning, throwing 87 pitches, 70 strikes in his last outing, the first one since coming off that disabled list. You mentioned him beating the Jays back on May the 10th. He pitched a career-high 8 innings in that game, only gave up 4 hits and 2 earned runs. He's tough, throws a lot of strikes. Blue Jays have to get their hitting shoes on.
Take a look at the defense in the outfield. Colin Cowgill is in left field tonight. Hamilton slides over to center from left field. Mike Trout's the DH tonight. Cole Calhoun's in right. John McDonald, a former Blue Jay, gets to start at third base. Ibar and Kendrick up the middle. The Gold Glover Albert Pujols at first, and Chris Iannetta behind the plate for Tyler Skaggs.
Eric Ibar, the shortstop of any shortstop in the American League with at least 50 games. He has the fewest errors with 5. He's got the #1 fielding percentage in the American League, and he also won a Gold Glove in 2011. for the Angels.
Very underrated player. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. Reyes takes it in there for a strike, and we are underway. 23 degrees here in Anaheim. Another beautiful afternoon and early evening. Reyes needs to get something going for this Blue Jays ball club. 1 for 4 last night. Reyes, like so many hitters in this lineup, is trying to do it all by himself. It looks as though everybody thinks if I get one big hit, that's going to get things turned around, and that's not the way it worked early for them.
Just make solid contact. I think what Jose has to do is he's getting too many balls airborne. Flew out 3 times in last night's ball game. I'd like to see him get that line drive stroke back out, maybe hit some balls hard on the ground. That helped him last time when he went through a little bit of a mini slump and then started hitting hard ground balls.
There's a ground ball off the end of the bat. Howie Kendrick at second base throws out Reyes. 1 down. We saw Tyler Skaggs back in May, and he was good.
Fastball, curveball, changeup basically is what you're going to get from him. His ground ball percentage this season keeps climbing. His home runs per 9 this season keep going down. If he keeps that ball down, he can be tough. The curveball, I think, is his out pitch, the pitch that he'll use to strike you out. Batter's hitting just .207 against that curveball this year.
Blue Jays scored a run against Skaggs in the first inning, and then he pitched into the 9th in that ball game at Rogers Center. Tollefson goes after the first pitch, and Ibar, desperation throw, no chance. Steve Tollefson has a 1-out single.
You know, no sense waiting around. Skaggs is going to be around the plate. You saw that. He throws a lot of pitches, a lot of first pitch strikes, and Tollefson homered in his last at bat in Oakland. Starts off this series with a base hit, an infield single.
Tollefson in limited at bats has hit over .333 against lefty pitching. So John Gibbons felt like he'd put him in that 2 spot tonight. So far, so good for Tollefson. Melky Cabrera, which in his last 19 games, he's hit .338. He goes after the first pitch and bounces it foul. You know, Pat, there's a fine line between being aggressive and trying to get something going early. When the Blue Jays scored all those runs in May, they were taking pitch after pitch after pitch and really working to count. But right now, I think there's a little bit of panic in their approach.
And, you know, if you get a base hit on the first pitch, nobody says anything. You make an out swinging at the first pitch, and everybody says, well, why don't you take a few pitches? I think it's the ebb and flow, I think, of the regular season and how long the season is, the ups and downs of a major league season. If you feel good, and if Melky Cabrera feels good, he certainly has hit on this road trip. If he feels good and that first pitch is a fastball, why not go ahead and swing away?
Breaking ball downstairs. Skaggs has a good breaking ball. He's a former #1 pick of the Angels in 2009, the 40th pick overall. He was a supplemental pick in that first round. Just 22 years old. He'll turn 23 on the 13th of July. He's a local guy. He went to high school in Santa Monica. Santa Monica High School, about 40 miles north of here.
They got rid of him and then said, "Ooh, maybe we would like to have him back." So they went back and traded for him.
Isn't that interesting? They traded him to Arizona for Dan Herron in August of 2010 and then reacquired him last December in a trade for Mark Trumbo.
It reminds me of Gio Gonzalez when he was with the Chicago White Sox. Kenny Williams traded him away and then said, wow, this guy's pretty good, and then traded back for him.
There's a base hit up the middle. Tollefson is going to stop at second. Josh Hamilton was playing shallow and got to it quickly. First and second, 1 out for Jose Bautista.
I tell you, he has been swinging a red-hot bat. They moved Melky down in the order, put him in the number 3 hole, get some guys on base. He has now been on 8 times on this road trip. Disciplined hitter, works at his craft every single day. He's in that cage. He's got a set routine, and it works for him.
Milwaukee with his 113th hit of the season. Jose Bautista with one out and runners at first and second. Bautista had a sac fly in the fourth inning. He drove in the first Blue Jay run. He would get just one more on the solo home run by Juan Francisco. Blue Jays lost 5-2 last night. Bautista late on that pitch and fouls it off the right side.
That was just 93 miles an hour on that fastball. It's almost like Jose was waiting back as long as possible. Not necessarily trying to shoot the ball to right field. As you can see, there's just one defender on the right side of the infield.
Lots of shadows surrounding the mound. It's a challenge for hitters right now.
That's what I think it was. I don't think he saw that ball.
You can see as the shadows are cast beyond the mound, and it's difficult for hitters to pick up the baseball in that background. There's a good idea of what the hitters have to deal with. Skaggs is in the sun, and then the background is in the shade. Ball and a strike. There go the runners. Pitch is thrown to third base, and Townsend is out. John Gibbons trying to get aggressive and get something going. He had a couple of runners on base, starts the runners, and Townsend is thrown out by Chris Iannetta. Good strong throw to the bag at third.
You know, maybe down in the order, you can see where the second baseman was playing. That's not a very good jump, and obviously thrown out at third base. Not with Jose Bautista hitting, and not against a left-handed pitcher. I think you have to be 100% sure that you're going to make it to third base.
2 outs. Cabrera now at second base. Bautista takes a breaking ball. Did you notice John McDonald put his knee down in front of that bag to keep Tolleson from reaching out with his hand? Very subtle move by the veteran. Watch that left knee come down and block his hand from reaching the base.
Cover off that part a la Bobby Grich. Remember Bobby Grich used to do that when he played second base here.
Bautista gets a piece of it and stays alive. Bobby Grich, the second baseman, Doug DeCinces, the third baseman, were the best in the league at it.
Yeah.
And Bob Boone was the catcher back then, and he put a pickoff play at third, and DeCinces would block the third base.
You never get to the bag, so you couldn't stray too far.
Couldn't do that now with the new rules in place.
Not at the plate, right?
2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. We're in the top of the first. High pitch upstairs. Now a full count to Bautista.
You know, you talk about Bobby Grich. He was so good. They're still voting for him. On the base pass down there, it says vote Grich. You know?
Very good. Vote Grich.
They're still talking about him.
Yeah, he was a good player. I don't think he was that good.
That's for Garrett Richards,
Garrett
of course.
Richards for the extra
for the
roster spot.
But I looked down there and I said, Grich. Bobby Grich is still playing, huh?
Full count, 2 outs. Nolan Reimold is on deck. This is popped up and playable. John McDonald into foul ground, and Bautista's retired. The Blue Jays have a promising start to the inning. It ends up with Tyler Skaggs stranding a base runner. Bautista was at the plate when Collison got thrown out at third, and I think everybody on this team is pressing a little bit right now, and Bautista frustrated, obviously, by the great opportunity in the first inning. They had runners at first and second, one out, and a chance to get an early lead. And then Collison gets thrown out, and Bautista pops up, and that good start goes down the drain. Take a look at the lineup for the Angels. The Angels won last night. Scored 5 runs on 10 hits. Top of the order, Cole Calhoun, Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, and then Josh Hamilton in center field. And he has put up good numbers in limited at-bats against R.A. Dickens, 4 for 5. As a double and a pair of walks. Howie Kendrick, he has been wearing out the Blue Jays. Had a 3-hit night last night, and that has boosted him to a 10 for 19 season against the Blue Jays.
R.A. Dickey, Blue Jays are really counting on him to halt their slide right now. He lost his last 4 decision, although his ERA over that span is just 3.7. Last time out, he was outstanding. First complete game of the season, that was that 8-inning loss to the Oakland A's up in the Bay Area.
Cole Calhoun takes the first pitch down for a ball. Calhoun right at 300 for the season. Last time the Blue Jays played the Angels, he was out with a high ankle sprain.
Boy, he has really come on, too, over the last 8 games from that leadoff spot, getting base hits, setting the table for this team, giving a lot of RBI opportunities for Pujols, Trout, and Hamilton.
There's a good knuckleball in there for a strike. It's 1-2. You mentioned Dickey was good last time out. He certainly was. He threw that complete game. It was the first time in 9 starts he hadn't given up a home run. But he lost to Sonny Gray and the Athletics 4-1.
That knuckleball was really dancing for Dickey in that last start. He was consistent throughout from the first pitch to the last. You can see they stretched him out just a little bit longer with 126 pitches. But 8 innings, 6 hits in that game. It's the 5th time in his last 6 starts he's allowed 3 earned runs or less. He just doesn't have anything to show for it because the Blue Jays haven't been able to hit for him.
The score was 2-1 heading into the bottom of the 8th. The Athletics scored 2 runs in the 8th inning. Alberto Callaspa had a sac fly, and John Jaso had an RBI double. Dickey had a run score on a pass ball. Nate Fryman had an infield base hit through the right side of the infield. There's a good knuckler and a strikeout for R.A. Dickey. Cole Calhoun, strikeout number 1 tonight. Take a look at the defense behind Dickey. It's Cabrera, Mastriani, and Reimel from left to right in the outfield. Tolleson gets the start at third base, his 5th of the season. Reyes Kawasaki up the middle. Bautista, his 3rd, started first, and Josh Tolley, as he always does, is handling the Gold Glover, R.A. Dickey.
And our first shot of Darren Mastriani, who is going to start now the platoon in center field. According to John Gibbons, he'll start today and tomorrow against the left-hander. Playing some center field tonight.
Mike Trout takes the first pitch strike. Trout is the DH tonight. The Angels have a nice mix of outfielders. They have guys that can play center. They have Colin Cowgill who can play center. Josh Hamilton was a center fielder most of his career. Of course, Mike Trout can do the same. So when you need to give one of the regulars a day off in the outfield, you can put somebody in center field for Trout and give him half a game off as the DH.
Time off of his feet to DH and give his legs a rest. And I'm sure we'll see Pujols DHing tomorrow afternoon. Quick turnaround after tonight's ball game. You give Trout a day off tonight as the DH and then back out in center field tomorrow.
Boy, that's a wicked knuckleball. Dickey's had a real good knuckleball lately. Josh Tolley said last time out against Oakland it was the best knuckleball he had all year long.
Great movement. He's throwing it in the right spots. He's also changing speeds with it at times. Taking something off of it, throwing a slow knuckleball, and then reaching back at times for the faster one.
And late break, Tolley made it look better than it actually was as he brought the ball right down into the strike zone. These two, of course, have worked a lot together going back to their days with the Mets. Fouled off of Tolley. Mike Trout got a piece of it. Albert Pujols is on deck. Just a fly ball into center. Mastriani broke back, and now he's got to hustle in as he reacted to the big swing. Trout's retired. Last time out, R.A. Dickey had that great knuckleball working against the Athletics.
Just watch how much this thing moves and how it'll lock up some of these hitters. Good knuckleball as it makes its way towards home plate. It's moving, it's shaking, it's going all over the place. That's exactly what happened in that game. And he's able to keep it in the strike zone and throw it at about 80 miles per hour. Then you take a little something off. He'll use that knuckleball about 90% of the time.
Yeah, and he's got confidence that he can get good hitters out like Albert Pujols. Pujols is 0 for 5 against Dickey. Albert Pujols with a .319 career average. He's currently 3rd among active players. Miguel Cabrera and Joe Mauer are tied with a .320 career average. There's a high fly ball into right. Nolan Reimold over in the alley makes the catch, and the inning is over. Quick inning for R.A. Dickey. We've played one in Anaheim. It's a scoreless game. Coaches for the Blue Jays talking to Steve Tollefson, and it might be related to Tollefson being caught trying to steal third base in the first inning. But Pat, you and I have both been on teams where players feel like, well, if I can do something to get this team going, maybe we'll turn things around.
Can't force it. You just have to go out and play the game of baseball, do what you're capable of doing. The minute you start trying to do something you're not capable of, and we're not talking about Steve Tollefson here, but we're talking as baseball players in general, if you start doing something that you're not capable of, that's when you're going to fail. It's a tough game to play to begin with. You can see the tag right there. He never got to the bag as Johnny Mack threw that leg down there and blocked him off of third base. But I don't have a problem with the manager trying to get something going, trying to make something happen when you're struggling to score runs. Just don't know if I want to have a guy eliminated off the bases with Jose Bautista at the plate.
Nolan Reimold in his second game with the Blue Jays goes after the first pitch, and it's hit high and deep to right. Calhoun is back at the wall. This ball is off the wall. Reimold is headed for second. He'll get there with a stand-up double, his first hit as a Blue Jay.
Do you see a pattern right now here in the first couple of batters of this ball game? They're jumping all over that first fastball they see from Tyler Skaggs. Reimold. They moved him up in the order. John Gibbons was saying before the game they like the way he swings the bat. Hopefully they can get some production hitting behind Jose Bautista tonight. And good start with a double.
Nolan Reimold, his first double of the season. He's 30 years old. Spent all of his career with the Orioles until Blue Jays picked him up on the waiver wire. Connor Navarro, the DH tonight. There's a first pitch strike to Navarro. But you're right. The Blue Jays just have to let the game come to them. You can't really force it. And that's what they did so well early in the season when they were scoring about 6 runs a game. If it wasn't there for you, pass the baton. Let the next guy do it.
Take what that pitcher was going to give you. If he was going to nibble on the corners, go ahead and take it. And this time they're going to take this, as it looked like Navarro was hit by that pitch.
Now he'll go to first base, as Skaggs has had 2 runners on in each of the first 2 innings, and now he's got runners at first and second and nobody out.
A little different than the last time you saw him in May. He was dominant against the Blue Jays. Navarro not moving much, wanting to get hit by that pitch. Didn't try to really get out of the way of that breaking ball.
At one point in that game back in May, Tyler Skaggs had retired 22 in a row. Different story tonight. Darren Mastriani, the center fielder, squares to bunt and fouls it off. He bunted it twice as that ball came up and hit his bat a second time for a foul ball. Blue Jay fans are always asking, well, why can't the Blue Jays bunt? Well, they're not a team that's built to bunt. And you have small game guys, little guys that are supposed to bunt. Mastriani in the minor leagues hit leadoff. He hit a lot top of the order, so he wasn't called upon to bunt very often. But you're right. It's a skill that should be universal.
Sure. You practice it every single day.
They have literally bunted every day from the first day of spring training, so you should be able to get a bunt down. Hot shot. This could be 2. Eyeball. Kendrick. Double play. Put it in the hands of the middle infielders, and they'll turn it for you. 75th double play of the season turned by the Angels. Eric Ibar at short. Howie Kendrick at second on the plate. Raimo goes to third.
Smooth at shortstop. It's Taylor May. 1 hop to the shortstop. He is in the top 6 in total chances this year with 324. He's in the top 3 in putouts at shortstop. Eric Ibar. Told you he's number 1 in fielding percentage of all shortstops in the American League. Made that one look easy.
Munenori Kawasaki goes after the first pitch and drives it to left. Colin Cowgill is there, and another promising inning down the drain quickly. Blue Jays leave another base runner. They stranded 2 so far. No scores. We hit the bottom of the second. The American League and National League All-Star rosters. To cast your vote, visit MLB.com. Voting ends 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, July 10th. There are the 5 players in each of the respective leagues that you can vote for. Justin Morneau, The Colorado Rockies has had an all-star worthy first half. A lot of pitchers in the American League. Chris Sale of the White Sox. A lot of people think he's the most deserving.
And the Angels think Garrett Richards is their guy, so they announce it. So the fans who come in here, you can see it put out in the dirt part of the infield to vote for Garrett Richards.
Garrett Richards, Dallas Keuchel, Rick Porcello, Corey Kluber, and Chris Sale, all pitchers in the American League.
All deserving. Every one of them. They've all had very good first halves. But how can you keep Chris Sale off of that list?
Josh Hamilton hits it hard. Bautista is there. He'll flip to Dickey covering the bag. Hamilton is up. 4 straight retired by R.A. Dickey to start this game. Eric Ibar has been dropped down in the order by Mike Scioscia. You always see him up in the top of the order, sometimes leading off, most of the time in the 2 spot. But since he's been such a good hitter with runners on, they've dropped him down into an RBI situation.
You know, we talked about that a little bit at the end of the game last night about who you want hitting behind the home run hitter, the number 4 hitter, whatever you want to call it, Josh Hamilton. I like the idea of having a switch hitter, a guy who hits for a high average, a guy who hits well with runners in scoring position, like a Ibar. Last night it was Howie Kendrick.
This is going to drop in front of Raimo in right field. Ibar is aboard. That's the first base runner for the Angels.
And the thought being, if you're big home run here, you got guys on base, and Josh Hamilton strikes out. I want a guy who's going to make contact, who's going to be a tough out, hitting in that number 5 spot in the batting order. And Ibar's been swinging a hot bat.
So Ibar's aboard. Howie Kendrick. This year against the Blue Jays, he's 10 for 19. That's a .526 average. Had a 3-hit game last night. I think the Blue Jays need to play him a little bit more to right field on the infield. He is so adept at shooting that ball through the right side. You throw him anything away, and naturally he's going to wait back on the knuckleball.
I think he's going to wait a long time, more so than normal, to really track that knuckleball. His stride at the plate suggests he's going to hit the ball to right field. Front shoulder stays in there. Front side really stays closed a long time.
With a drive to center, Mastriani is there, and Kendrick hits it hard, but right at the center fielder. 2 down. Well, Chris Iannetta, the catcher, he, like Kendrick last night, had a 3-hit game. He went 3 for 4, scored a couple of runs, had a pair of singles and a double.
Powered the ball to right field off the top of the wall. He's got plenty of power.
Two outs. Iannetta is in his 3rd season with the Angels. You see his numbers against the Blue Jays. He's hit .422 against the Blue Jays in his career. He spent 6 years in Colorado with the Rockies. Well, it looked like Ibar took a step towards second, didn't it?
Yeah, why not? Why not try to advance on a pitcher who throws the knuckleball? Dickey does a good job of holding runners. He's quick to the plate. Watch how fast he spins around and makes that throw over to first base.
Inside.
But if you're a runner against a guy with a knuckleball, you have to anticipate that ball getting by the catcher.
Well, even if it doesn't get by the catcher, it's only 78 miles an hour. It takes a little while to get to the catcher, and then he's got to catch it, make the exchange, and throw it to second. A lot of things have to go right for Josh Thole. 3-0. This is where Dickey has to be careful. Colin Cowgill is on deck, the left fielder.
Well, you mentioned he had a good game last night, Iannetta. If you throw one of those BP fastballs up here, they might be giving him the green light.
You bet. He was all over that. That's what I'm saying. He's got to be careful with that fastball if he's going to throw it. Now we have seen Dickey go back to the knuckleball on a 3-1 pitch.
Yeah. He could take a little something off if he wants to, throw the slow knuckleball or come back with the firmer knuckleball. That's what it is. That one is a knuckleball.
Ibar just in ahead of the tag of Bautista. Bautista's a baseball player. He has played third base. He's played center field. He's played the outfield positions. He understands the game, and he knows Dickey's going to try to keep Ibar close at first. Foul back. Now it's a full count. Now Bautista can back up. He turns to the bench and says, "Where do you want me to play?" And they said they want him to stay right there on the bag.
I would hold him on too. You got a right-handed hitter in Ionetta. Knuckleball pitcher. Bautista is 3-2 now. What should I do? You want me to stay on here? What you want to do is you want to hold him on so he doesn't get a huge lead, so he can't score on a double.
Ball four. Ionetta takes a close one. Dickey thought it was a strike. 2-out walk.
Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful waterfall in straightaway center here in Angels Ballpark. Angels Stadium in Anaheim. Beautiful evening. It'll be day game tomorrow. 12:30 local start. Colin Cowgill, the left fielder. Marcus Stroman will go to the mound for the Blue Jays. He'll be opposed by C.J. Wilson, the left-hander. I think everybody's anxious to watch Stroman pitch again. He was good against Oakland his last time out.
He was a lot of fun to watch against Oakland, and it's always good when you watch a young player come up, a young pitcher, and facing guys for the first times and in new ballparks, new surroundings.
Runners at first and second, 2 outs. It's a scoreless game. Now it's 2-0. Eric Ibar had a single into right, and then 1 out later, Chris Ionetta walked on a full count. Now he goes after that knuckler and fouls it. Cowgill is one of these outfielders that very versatile. He was a original draft round, 5th round draft pick of the Diamondbacks. That's a pretty good pitch.
Cut that corner with that fastball. Looked like it surprised Cowgill. Threw a fastball right there.
You saw Tolley hanging on to the ball because Ibar hadn't gone back to second base. He was waiting, possibility maybe Tolley would lob it back to Dickey. 2-2, 2 outs. Cut on and fouled. Right to the third base coach, Gary DeSarcina. The Angels scored first in last night's game. They got a run in the bottom of the third off Jay Happ. Blue Jays actually had a 2-1 lead after 4.5. There's a fly ball to right. Nolan Reimold moves to his right. The inning is over. R.A. Dickey leaves a pair. Will go to the third. Still looking for the first run of the night. Has all your baseball needs. Lots of great articles like this one on Blue Jays prospect Daniel Norris approaches life in a little bit differently. Check it out. It's a very interesting read, and you'll really enjoy it. It's on sportsnet.ca. Please don't let the money change me. And young Daniel Norris has a pretty good outlook on life. Said he doesn't really value monetary things, but enjoys the thrill of going to the mound and pitching.
The journey of life to go through things. There's a great article. I read it this afternoon, and can't wait to see this kid when he gets to the big leagues. There's no doubt he's going to pitch in the big leagues.
You know, one thing he said in the article that was really interesting was about the money. It'll come and go. The money will come and go, but your memories will last forever.
That's right.
I thought that was really interesting. He's really a free spirit, and he spent some time in Nicaragua surfing last offseason, and those kinds of memories will never go away. Josh Thole takes a first pitch strike. Josh Thole had a pretty good game at the plate last time out. He was catching RA against Sonny Gray. He went 2 for 3 in that game. He was working with Kevin Seitzer today during batting practice, and Seitzer suggested that when Thole tries to hit the ball on the right side in an effort to move a base runner, he really does it with an aggressive swing. He said, I want you to use that aggressive swing when you're trying to hit it to the opposite field as well.
And not just feel for the ball and just serve it out there, drive it out there.
Yeah, it was really interesting. And Josh kind of understood what he said. He said, I'm really trying to get on top of that ball so I can hook it to the right side. Kevin said, well, do the same thing when you hit it to left. Hits this ball to the right side. Easy play for Howie Kendrick. 1 down. Well, this has been a tough stretch. They have lost 7 straight road games, including 5 in a row on this trip. And it's tough to win if you don't score any runs, and that's been a real challenge for this ball club on this trip.
And if you're not going to knock guys in when they're in scoring position, 0 for 21 on this road trip. They've only hit a couple of home runs in 5 games. Tough to win some games, and John Gibbons was talking about that before the games. It's like, we have to start hitting. You can't win if you don't score runs.
Reyes drives this ball foul down the left side.
You know, it's not just this road trip. It was the last 7 games. Remember the last 2 games in Cincinnati? They could have easily been swept in Cincinnati. They came back from that 8-run deficit.
They were down 8-0 on Friday night. Yeah,
and came back and won that one. But they've lost 7 in a row on the road, scoring only 10 runs.
There's a little flare down the right side. This is trouble. Reyes drops one in there. He better get back to first. He slides under the tag. Pujols wants a review. Home plate umpire David Rackley followed the play down to first. That was his call. Pujols stayed with Reyes and saw he had drifted too far around first.
I'll tell you, no question, if the throw was lower, Reyes was going to be out, but because Pujols had to reach for that ball, it was up high. That gave Reyes some time to possibly get underneath the tag. Let's watch it one more time. A little blooper down the right field line. This has happened to the Blue Jays enough on this road trip. A little aggressive turn. You see him reach for that one, and I think he's safe.
It looked like Pujols missed him with the tag. Watch this glove. He swipes at him, and Reyes grabs the bag. But again, Reyes once again trying to force the issue. I think boy, it was close. That hand was still up in the air.
Yeah.
Pujols finally got the glove on it.
Again, a lower throw. He catches the ball, and there's no chance for Jose to get back. But we'll see. We've had some that look like they were going to go in the Blue Jays' favor, and it's been overturned.
Yeah, we're not taking sides anymore.
No.
And there it is on the Jumbotron, and Pujols looking up, and the fans saw the replay. Albert Pujols swipes at Reyes, and Reyes was reaching for the back of the bag. I mean, we have seen some that look to be clearly calls that should be overturned, and they haven't.
And that has brought out Jose Bautista.
Well, Joe Torre was here today, and he talked to both managers, and Torre is on the committee that set up the instant replay. Tony La Russa, Joe Torre, Jim Leland, a lot of guys got involved, Sandy Alderson, but Torre was in the ballpark, met with both managers, and also had a private meeting with Jose Bautista.
Jose Bautista. I'm sure about the replay system. There's the tag right there, is the hand on the bag. They're going to have to determine when the tag is made.
But once again, it's a case of a Blue Jay player trying to force the issue. I mean, that was a base hit. It was clearly going to be a base hit. He wasn't going to go to second.
Nope.
There was no way to go to second base on that play. So just take the base hit. He's satisfied with that. But now he's put himself in position to have the play reviewed.
I like the effort, trying to show that you want to play this game aggressively, but there's times where you just have to shut it down and head back to the base because, again, if Calhoun throws this ball lower right on the bag, who else is sitting there waiting for him?
Pujols still hasn't tagged Reyes. And right there, it looks like he finally gets the glove on Reyes's body, and I don't know if he had his hand on the base yet.
I don't think there's enough evidence to say one way or another to change it.
See, that's another point of contention, too. It's just an interpretation. I mean, you'll look at one way, and you and I will both agree, well, I don't know. What do you think? Well, I like it. I don't think it's right. So you have, once again, you have humans making decisions on what they see.
Here's the base hit one more time by Reyes. Now, this is going to fall. Everybody in the ballpark knew that it was going to fall. And then the wide turn. No need for it.
They have called him out. They have overturned the ruling on the field. Reyes is out. So he will be credited with a base hit. And then he is out trying to advance as Calhoun throws to Pujols for the out.
And I'm wrong again. That's like 3 in a row.
Yeah, I mean,
you
just can't tell it. You look at it one way and you say, well, it didn't look like he tagged him. But again, the Blue Jays lose another base runner. Steve Tolleson had a first pitch single in the first inning. Then he was caught trying to steal third base for the second out of the inning. Blue Jays have had a runner lost on base, caught stealing. They've had a runner erased on a double play, and they've lost a runner now rounding the bag too far at first. You made a great point about there are times to be aggressive, and there are times when the game tells you, okay, take what you get.
Yeah.
Don't force it.
There was no need to. If you need to, okay.
Remember when Steve Kemp was playing for the Tigers, and we as players used to always say the Steve Kemp school of base running? Run till you're out.
Just keep running until they tag you?
He was always aggressive, always trying to take the extra base, and he got thrown out a lot.
Well, I commend Jose for trying to play the game hard and showing everybody that he plays the game hard, but that time there was no need for that. Ball's right in front of you.
But again, it's a case of one of the Blue Jays players trying to make things happen. Full count, 2 outs. Tolleson strikes out. The Blue Jays lose another base runner. Reyes gets a base hit. We'll go to the bottom of the third. Still a scoreless game. official app of Major League Baseball. Listen to live audio, follow games pitch by pitch, and enjoy in-game video highlights. The app is available on the iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, Android, and BlackBerry. Season-long subscription packages are available. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. What a way to spend an evening at Angels Stadium in Anaheim. Great seats in center field.
Is that the rock pile out there? Is that what they call that?
It is the rock pile.
It is gorgeous. It really is.
You can really sense the influence of Disneyland, can't you? Mm-hmm. Not far away. There's a little subtle A in the rocks as well. John McDonald, a former Blue Jay, leading things off for the Angels. McDonald wasn't really sure if he was going to make the team out of spring training. He was a non-roster invitee, had to make the ball club. But if he's not perfectly suited to make this team, I don't know who is. Can play all the infield positions and play them at a Gold Glove caliber level.
Still, at 39 years old, he can still play.
He strikes out. Second strikeout of the ball game for R.A. Dickey, one down.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
One thing you know you get a lot of in Southern California are freeways. The 405, the 5, and 55, they're all within a couple of blocks of this stadium. Makes it easy to get around Southern California. At least that's what they tell you.
Yeah, well, we've been sitting in traffic every day coming to this ballpark at 2:30.
Not to the top of the order, Cole Calhoun struck out his first time over. Well, there's another good knuckleball. I think he's got a good knuckleball again tonight. The problem with having a good knuckleball is you don't know whether or not you can control it and throw it in the strike zone.
That's the first thing that he did when he started learning that knuckleball, is just being able to control it, just being able to throw it on line and throw it in the strike zone. He believes that he can do things with the knuckleball, that with a twist of the wrist, he can make it move one way. He can take something off of it and try to sink it down and away from right-handers and left-handers.
Now, the strikeout is totally tags Calhoun. 3 strikeouts now, and sometimes that knuckleball will dance so well you got no chance. And this is how R.A. Dickey grips that knuckleball pitch.
Used to grip it between the seams. That's moved from the runway to the top of the C, the top of the horseshoe right there. You can see it, and gets a better grip and a good feel for it. Charlie Huff said he was throwing with the wrong grip. He changed it to the top of the C or the top of the horseshoe, and now he has really taken off. That ball is moving everywhere. That's how it is. Now, knuckleball really isn't the name of it. It should be, because you don't throw it with your knuckles. You throw it with your fingertips. You can dig your nails into that baseball. That's how you take it, and you just push it towards home plate.
Yeah, that's really a misnomer. Obviously, it's thrown with the fingertips and basically thrown with the fingernails.
Tom Candiotti, I played with him in Cleveland. He used to file his nails.
There's a high fly ball into right. Reimold, the right fielder, calls for it, and Trout's retired. 3 up, 3 down. Dickey has a quick inning in the third. We'll go to the fourth. Still a scoreless game. Only 5 hits so far. Canada and Little League Canada, Lethbridge, Alberta, August 14th and 15th at Spitz Stadium. The instructors include Roberto Alomar, Lloyd Mosby, Dwayne Ward, and Rance Mullenix. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy for more information. The Toronto Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. You should check out those Blue Jays Honda Super Camps. They are very well run and very informative, and you can pick up a lot of tips there. There's a little slugger that's anxious to get up and run. He's having a good time at the old ballpark.
What a great shot right there, huh? Isn't that? That's fantastic.
We move to the top of the fourth. Melky Cabrera, switch hitter, batting right hand. Melky had a single to center his first time up. Melky Cabrera's on pace for 199 hits. His career high, he had 201 hits in 2011 while he was playing with the Kansas City Royals.
Well, let's pick up the pace. Get to 200.
200 is a terrific milestone.
That's crazy. And you know what's crazy is the guys who have had 8, 10, 200 hit seasons. That's ridiculous.
There you see the hit leaders. Jose Altuve headed to the All-Star game. He has 126. Melky Cabrera is second. Jones Markakis, 2 Orioles, and then Ian Kinsler in the Tigers. Boy, Kinsler's had a great first time.
Yeah, power and a little speed, some production at the top of the lineup for the Tigers. To put 200 hits into perspective, you have to play every day and get a hit every day. 40 other days, you have to get another hit. You have to have a multi-hit game. And then you reach 200. Think about that. And then to do that over multiple years.
Well, I mean, when you think about what Pete Rose did, it's ridiculous. Yep. Ichiro Suzuki.
Wade Boggs.
This is going to be a ground ball to second. Howie Kendrick is going to throw to Pujols. 1 down. Jose Bautista will go to his 5th straight All-Star game. He's the captain of the American League Home Run Derby team. And today, 3 of the members of the team were announced. Bautista and Tulowitzki are the respective captains of their team. In the American League, it's Yoenis Cespedes, the reigning champ. Adam Jones has agreed to participate, and the hometowner, Brian Dozier of Minnesota, will be on Bautista's team, and there will be 1 additional player announced tomorrow.
Like the hometown guy, Dozier. It's a good pick. He knows that ballpark. What Cespedes did last year, pretty impressive. That's my pick to win it again.
Joe Mauer is currently on a disabled list. He is basically the ambassador for the Minnesota Twins during the All-Star game, and he would have been a likely candidate, although he doesn't hit many home runs. But Brian Dozier does. Jose Bautista, the top vote getter in the All-Star voting for the 2nd time in his career. Curveball hit high and deep into center. Josh Hamilton right to the warning track at the wall. He makes the catch. Bautista hit the breaking ball hard to deep center field, but Hamilton ran it down.
Just could not catch that ball out in front enough. Probably the deepest part of the ballpark he sends Josh Hamilton to. He's 6'4", and he makes that play look easy. Jose could have timed up that curveball a little bit more and caught it out in front. It'd be 1-0.
2 down. Nolan Raimo had a double his first time up, a leadoff double, but he was stranded at 3rd base. He gets a curveball and bounces it foul.
Blue Jays were all over that fastball early in the count, first time through the lineup. So now Skaggs is starting them off with breaking balls.
Another breaking ball. That's a fair ball, just inside the bag at first. Raimo steps on first. He heads for second, and he will stop there with 2 outs. Pair of doubles for Nolan Reimold.
Boy, he waited back on another curveball from Skaggs and hit it hard. Going to give him a shot. He's going to play every day until Jose Bautista is ready to play into the outfield, so they're giving him a shot. Let's see what you can do. Well, he doubles off the wall his first time, and that time takes that one right out of the catcher's glove and sends it down the right field line for extra bases.
Reimold has played 287 major league games, and his splits are almost identical. He's hit .252 against lefties, .251 against righties. Yanner Navarro with a chance to put the Blue Jays out in front. Takes a first pitch strike. Navarro got hit by a pitch, got hit in the back of the leg his first time up.
He is DHing tonight because of an injury to Cole Gillespie.
Doesn't sound good for Gillespie. Sounds like he might be headed to the DL.
Came out of nowhere, hurt himself swinging the bat yesterday before the game. Oblique injury.
Gillespie suggested that he had a little bit of a minor injury while he was with the Seattle Mariners. He felt it and thought it was nothing significant. So another bad break for John Gibbons, newly acquired Cole Gillespie, who was destined to be the right-handed hitter in the DH spot against lefty pitching.
Little platoon. They announced that yesterday. Gillespie and Lynn platooning at the DH against left-handers. He would play. So we were taken back a little bit when we got to the ballpark and saw Deonner's name in as the DH and found out why.
Well, and it's really difficult because you have both your catchers in the lineup, and one's the DH, and then if you have to make a move later on in the game, you could possibly lose the DH.
That's the reason why you don't really want to DH your backup catcher. If one of them gets hurt, you lose the DH. Deonner would have to come into the ball game to catch.
1-2, 2 outs. Navarro strikes out another good breaking ball. Just the second strikeout of the night. The Blue Jays have left 3 in this scoreless game.
So, Gibby, do you find that your players are trying too much, like Jose Reyes trying to make something on that wide turn at first base? You have to tell your guys to, be aggressive when you have to?
Oh, yeah. We've done a lot of talking, but, I mean, that's kind of the natural way things go in this game. When teams start struggling, everybody tries to be the guy, But one thing you got to remember in this game, nobody's invisible, so they always know where you're at.
Gibby, thanks for your time.
Okay, guys.
That's John Gibbons talking about the base running tonight. Donaldson was caught stealing third in the first inning with Bautista at the plate. Obviously, Gibbons didn't want him running in that situation. And just as we thought, everybody in that Blue Jays dugout just trying to make it happen. And sometimes that's really the wrong approach. Albert Pujols bounces it to short. Reyes has time, and he throws out Pujols. One down.
Well, I think it shows that the players care, that they know that they're struggling to score some runs and they want to do something to help the ball club, but you have to pick your spots to do that. I also liked his answer. Even if he was safe at third base, they weren't going to pitch to Jose Bautista, so it doesn't make any sense. You're already in scoring position.
Yeah, when you don't have Laurie and Edwin Encarnacion, you've got to keep Bautista in a position where he's going to get something to hit. These are all things that should be common sense, but in a desperate situation like this, sometimes your judgment gets clouded. Josh Hamilton quickly behind 0-2. Dickey's got a good knuckler working tonight. Hamilton grounded out to first in the second inning.
He doesn't mess around when he's on that hill. He gets the ball, works very quickly. He's been throwing a lot of strikes.
This is popped up. Sound like he broke his bat. Reyes on the edge of the grass makes the catch. 2 down. This is the 19th start of the season for R.A. Dickey. The home runs were not a problem early in the season. Last time out, he threw that complete game against the A's in a losing effort. He did not give up a home run in that game. That was the first time in 9 starts that he had allowed a long ball.
Threw a complete game against the Oakland A's. He really pushed him to the limit. Also 126 pitches in that start.
Eric Ibar goes after the first pitch. Another foul up the first baseline. The Angels have the second best record in the majors. Oakland has a 56-33 record. The Angels are 52-36. Second best record in the big leagues. Milwaukee has 52 wins, but they have 38 losses. The Angels have won 8 of their last 10, including 5 in a row. But they can't catch Oakland as they continue to win. Oakland's also won 5 straight.
Yeah, they can't get to him.
That's cued off the end of the bat. Collison bare hands and makes a nice play to end the inning. Good job by Steve Tollison to take that little squibber off the end of the bat. We're going to take a look at it. Mike Scioscia is getting the umpire's attention. There's a good play by Tollison. It's bang, bang at first. Looked like the foot was in the air when Bautista caught the ball. Mike Scioscia has just gotten the wave off. So their call will stand. We'll go to the 5th. It's a scoreless game. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Eric Smith and Greg Zahn. Presented by Bacardi. Friday, July 18th, the Blue Jays will take on the Texas Rangers. Game time is 7:07 p.m. Come on down to Rogers Center early. Check out the pregame festivities happening outside of Gate 10. Win great prizes, enjoy live music, and there's a licensed area. The gates open at 4:30 p.m. For tickets, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Or you can always get your tickets by logging online at BlueJays.com. Come on down for the Summer Friday Fan Festival, Friday, July 18th. First game after the All-Star break.
Texas Rangers are in town, aren't they?
It'll be the Rangers and then the Boston Red Sox. And the Boston Red Sox have had a terrible homestand. And the Red Sox players and coaching staff starting to believe that this might not be something you can turn around. There's a high pop. Pujols over near the seats. The foul ground makes the catch. Mastriani's retired.
You know what, though? You're a professional. You're getting paid to play baseball. You got to get out there and you got to play the game to win every night, all the way to the end.
No question about it. You're getting paid a lot of money. The Red Sox lose tonight 8-3 to the Chicago White Sox, and Boston falls to 39-51.
Only Houston has more losses than the Boston Red Sox in the American League.
Texas also has 51 losses. Houston has 54.
Who knew?
What a difference a year makes.
That's what we said last year. Because they were in last place before, right? And then they went to first, and now they're back in last.
You know what? I think it's really interesting how baseball has become devoid of any dominant teams. When you look at the dynasties of the Yankees in the late 90s into 2001, you look at the Oakland A's in the early 70s, the Big Red Machine. There just aren't those teams that can maintain that year after year level of consistency that pushes you to the postseason.
Too much freedom of movement, I think. Plus, I also feel like the teams are recognizing their young talent. They're locking them up to multi-year contracts, long contracts, so those guys never hit the free agent market. The good ones, the Clayton Kershaws.
Yeah, they're signing their young players to contracts that take them beyond free agency. Evan Longoria is a great example.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Braun.
Will Myers.
Those guys aren't going to hit free agency.
Nope.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Munenori Kawasaki. There's a base hit. Boy, he waited back on that breaking ball and just served it into left field. Kawasaki has his first hit of the night. Blue Jays have 6 hits. They haven't been able to turn those hits into runs.
Kawasaki stays back on that breaking ball, and that's a patented swing and base hit for him. Not much power. Just hit the ball the other way. They might shorten up even more next time he's at the plate.
Josh Tolley grounded out to second base his first time up. One more thought about the Boston Red Sox. Last year at this time, after 90 games, they had a plus 89 run differential. This year it's minus 55. You just can't do much with it.
They're just not hitting either. They're getting some decent pitched games, and they're okay. Pitching wise, they're having trouble scoring runs.
The Red Sox lost their backbone. They lost their catcher, their shortstop, and their center fielder. They got Stephen Drew back, but he missed half the season.
Johnny Gomes calls that Highway 1. And I said, what do you mean Highway 1? That big highway right through the middle of the baseball diamond. Our catcher, our shortstop, and our center fielder. They were gone from last year's team.
Saltalamacchia, Stephen Drew, and Jacoby Ellsbury. Take a look at the American League East standings at the start of play today. Baltimore 49-40.
They were postponed today against Washington.
Postponed. Blue Jays 47-44. The Yankees, they have lost to Cleveland. Trevor Bauer beat Tanaka. Tanaka slips to 12-4. The Rays 42-51. I think the people on the inside still have their eye on Tampa Bay. They have a long way to come, man. They have tonight beaten Kansas City. Kansas City scored 2 in the ninth to make it a 4-3 game, but the Rays won 4-3 on 8 hits.
Got off to a rocky start because they lost 3/5 of their starting rotation. Well, they're starting to get healthy again. They're still missing some of their players, their everyday players like Will Myers and Escobar, who just went out on a rehab. That could be a dangerous team in the second half if their pitching stays together.
The starter tonight, Jeremy Hellickson, made his first start of the season. So he was the starting pitcher. He was out after 4 1/3, but he allowed 1 run on 6 hits. Pretty good start to his season through 84 pitches. Josh Thole battling against Tyler Skaggs. Kawasaki at first for the 1-out single. No score as we play in the top of the 5th. Tyler Skaggs missed a month on the disabled list with a hamstring injury. Skaggs will turn 23 in 5 days.
How about that? They drafted him, developed him, traded him away, and then got him back.
There goes Kawasaki, and Thole pulls it through the hole. Munenori will go first to third as Thole got a breaking ball, and he pulled it to the right side of the infield. So the Blue Jays are threatening here in the 5th. First and third, 1 out.
It's almost like they sniffed something out right there. 0-2, you don't generally send that runner at first base, but he picks on a curveball and he's able to poke it through that hole on the right side. They start the runner just out of the reach. It's not hit hard enough for that runner to be held at second base. Softly into right field, so Kawasaki can make it to third.
Kawasaki didn't fall for the decoy at second. You see, Kendrick can't make a play on that ball. It's just beyond his reach. But Kawasaki picked up the baseball in right field, so he didn't fall for the decoy from the shortstop Ibar. Reyes.
Well, he did the right thing. He picks up the third base coach. Let's watch him once more on an ISO. He takes off. He finds the baseball. He sees that it's hit into right field, and now once it gets by Kendrick, he's his own base runner. Run with your head up.
1 out. Base hit into center field by Reyes. Kawasaki comes in to score. Thole stops at second, and the Blue Jays have finally gotten a base hit with a runner in scoring position. That's their first hit on this road trip with a runner in scoring position.
They start the runner. They get a base hit. He's able to go to third base, and he's going to score on another hit. That's 3 hits in a row. I don't recall that has happened on the road trip. Stay back. It looked like a ball down and in, a breaking ball, and Reyes stayed on that one and rips it into right center field for the base hit.
Reyes was 0 for 25 when he came up with that base hit. The Blue Jays as a team have been struggling. Reyes individually has been struggling. The previous at bat is when he snapped that 0 for in the 3rd inning. He had the base hit to right field. Now he has an RBI base hit. 2 for 3 for Reyes, top of the order. Now Tollison will bat.
3 singles in a row. That's 8 hits now for the Blue Jays.
Against a left-handed pitcher.
Came into this game last in the American League in batting average versus lefties.
.229 average for the Blue Jays against lefty pitching. Steve Tollison has a hit tonight. Drives this ball down the right side. That's going to slice into the seats. Blue Jays have Tyler Skaggs on the ropes here in the 5th. They've scored a run. They have collected 8 hits off of Skaggs. Breaking ball down and in. 1-0 Blue Jays lead it.
A little bit different than the last time they faced Skaggs. He threw 8 innings and gave up just 4 hits to the Blue Jays. They've doubled that already in the 5th.
There's a drive down the left field line. Cowgill over in the corner, has room and makes the catch. Colin Cowgill got over quickly to make the catch in the corner. Now Melky Cabrera will bat with 2 outs. Iannetta with a little meeting on the mound just to give Skaggs a breather and to help him regroup before he goes after Cabrera.
Yeah, let's think about what we're going to do to the Blue Jays' Melky Cabrera. He's a 300 hitter, standing at 302 right now.
Melky has a hit tonight, 1 for 3. He has 33 multi-hit games. Jose Altuve leads the American League with 38 such games. Hits it hard, but right to Ibar, who bobbles it. Now he has to go to first, and Pujols digs it out of the dirt. The sure-handed Eric Ibar bobbled it and got some help at first by Pujols. But the Blue Jays break through against Tyler Skaggs. They score a run on 3 hits and just miss another opportunity. Pujols digs it out of the dirt. Authority of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays baseball partnership. Beautiful night in Anaheim. Game time temperature 23 degrees, and the Blue Jays have finally taken the lead. It's 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Howie Kendrick will lead things off. Blue Jays retired him in the 2nd inning on a fly ball to center. Kendrick is a very good hitter. He has a lifetime .292 batting average. He's now 30 years old. This is his 9th season with the Angels. Don Baylor is the hitting coach, and Baylor is back with the Angels for the first time since 1982. And Baylor saw Kendrick, watched him closely in the spring, and thought, you know, I'm going to teach this young man how to pull the ball. And then he saw him hit in spring, and he said, you know what? He's too good a hitter to mess with. And Baylor left him alone and said, Howard, you continue to hit the way you're hitting because you can really cut some line drives to right.
And it's no wonder that he's hitting for an average, a career average, just under 300 when he's able to hit the ball the other way. That's surprising, 292. I bet you if you go around and ask baseball people what his career average is, they couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a 290 career hitter. That's a real good hitter. Right here, he takes a called third strike. That's 4 strikeouts for Dickey tonight.
The other 3 swinging. This time, Hendricks thinks it's inside. Josh Tolley holds it right there for David Rackley to punch him out.
Chris Iannetta walked his first time up. Only walk that Dickey has allowed them. Thought he had that knuckleball timed perfectly and cut right through it.
Love the pace that he's working at right now. He's not even leaving the rubber.
He's playing catch with Josh Tolley. And you know what? Knuckleball is all about feel, touch and feel. And obviously, always got the feel tonight. He's allowed just 1 hit. Eric Ibar got a little looping single down the right field line in the second. That's a good pitch. Another strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts here in the 5th for Dickey.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Beautiful Angels Stadium in Anaheim, California. Those are 2 big Angel baseball hats outside the stadium. Nice focal point for people coming to the ball game for a gathering spot. Colin Cowgill asked for time, and it wasn't granted by the home plate umpire.
Well, he got in the box, and R.A. Dickey was ready and tried to call timeout.
Boy, Josh is doing a nice job of catching that knuckleball tonight.
Framing it up. That's tough to do, framing up a knuckleball, but he's holding it right there.
Ground ball. Reyes backhand, throws on the run. Bautista with a stretch in time. Good job by Reyes. He's been plagued by some shoulder problems. No signs of that there. He made a strong throw, and Bautista gave him a good stretch, and Mike Scioscia is on the warning track in front of the dugout.
Good backhand, and we saw him bounce a couple of these balls over there already on this road trip. That time, all the way across the diamond, and records the out. Nice stretch by Jose to finish it off.
10 straight retired by R.A. Dickey. Good throw by Reyes. The insiders from Sportsnet.ca cover every angle of the Toronto Blue Jays. Breaking news, photos, videos, and tweets. A one-stop shop for everything Blue Jays. The Blue Jays Rundown. Only on Sportsnet.ca. And today the Rundown headlines that Yoenis Cespedes of the A's and Adam Jones of the Orioles have joined Bautista in the home run derby. So Tulowitzki, the captain of the National League home run team, and Bautista, the captain of the American League, have made the announcement of 4 of the 5 members of their home run derby team. Bautista takes one upstairs. He is 0 for 2 so far. Off-speed pitch. He was out in front. Bautista's 0 for 5 against Tyler Skaggs. May have tweaked his back a little bit as he's taking an extra bit of time to regroup.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. Whenever a hitter steps out like that and stretches himself. He was a little bit out in front. And he was out in front of that one also.
Jared Weaver, the starter for the Angels in last night's game, left after retiring the first 6 batters of the game. He had a comebacker off the bat of Adam Lynn, and it tweaked his back, and he couldn't answer the bell in the 3rd. 1-2 to Bautista. Upstairs, now it's 2-2. He tried to check his swing, got a piece of it. He didn't look real good right now.
No, it looks like he is moving a little bit more than normal up at the plate. Usually he gets set, he lifts that front leg, and he really lets that ball travel.
Maybe like he tweaked something in that back.
That's just what John Gibbons needs right there.
Yeah, he's going to stop watching.
Yeah.
Okay, if anything happens, Kevin, don't tell me.
What's up with the lights in the stands?
Bautista fouls it back. He still didn't have that patented Jose Bautista swing on that pitch. You see the flickering lights, everybody using their phones now just to create some attention here. That's cued off the end of the bat.
Still doesn't look right. That swing looks like all his weight is out on the front foot. Here's the swing one more time. Watch. Leg kick. See how all the weight is out on the front foot before he makes contact.
Lines this one to left field. Cowgill got a good break on it there. Makes the catch. 1 down. Let's check in with Eric Smith. Sonny Gray against Madison Bumgarner in that series, and the A's have won 5 straight, just like the Angels. It is a Bay Area rivalry for sure.
Well, I know they made that big trade, and I saw Justin Verlander say they made that trade for us. Partly true. I think they made the trade because of this team that we're playing right here. They're only 3.5 games behind them.
You got to get past the Angels before you think anything about the postseason. Nolan Rybel has a pair of doubles tonight. Jose Bautista. Frustration mounting, obviously.
Second time that we have seen him do that.
There's a strike right at the knees to Nolan Rybel. He is behind the ball in 2 strikes. Raimo has a pair of doubles to right. One off the wall in right field, the other one down the line just inside the first base bag.
Took it right out of the catcher's glove. Kept it fair down the right field line.
Inside. It's a 1-0 ball game. The Blue Jays haven't really capitalized on their 8 hits against Tyler Skaggs.
They have had a hit in every inning. They have left a base runner in every inning but one. You're right, 8 hits and only 1 run so far.
Jose Reyes has driven in the only run of the ball game, and that snapped a streak of 0 for 25 for the Blue Jays with runners in scoring position. That's off the end of the bat. Big 2 hopper for Howie Kendrick. Reimold is retired. 2 down. R.A. Dickey has been terrific tonight. He's held the Angels to a single hit.
Angels have been scoring some runs during this home win streak that they have put together.
Angels have won 11 straight games here at home.
And averaging about 6 runs a game. So what Dickey has been doing tonight has been excellent.
Tanner Navarro, the DH, fouls one into the glove and out of the glove of a fan in the second deck.
With a glove. He had a glove on, too.
He was given a gift, and he dropped it.
You come to the ballpark, you bring your glove for this moment right here.
Oh, man. Off-speed pitch finds the strike zone. It's 0-2. Broken bat, 1 hopper to John McDonald. The third baseman takes his time and throws out Navarro. 3 up, 3 down. The Jays go quietly in the top of the 6th. It's a 1-0 game. It's a 1-0 game. Jose Reyes has had a little bit of everything tonight. He has done it with the glove. He's driven in the only run of the ball game, and he got caught off first base on a single. But he has given R.A. Dickey and the Blue Jays a 1-0 lead. For Reyes, RBI number 24 on the season. That's the only run of this ball game. Dickey has allowed but one hit.
2 base runners. A hit and a walk in the second inning, and that has been it.
This is popped up behind home plate. Josh Tolley has room. He's got that knuckleball glove and smothers that pop-up. 1 down. Let's check in with Eric Smith. Ernesto Frieri, who was traded from the Angels to the Pirates, gives up that home run and takes the loss. Trevor Rosenthal, a big closer for the Cardinals, picks up the win in relief. St. Louis starting to make a move. Cardinals at the start of play tonight, 4 back. They have won now 2 in a row. Brewers have lost 2 in a row. So the Cardinals trying to move up in that National League Central race. Milwaukee lost tonight 9-7 at the hands of the Phillies.
So that makes it a 3-game lead now for the Brewers over St. Louis. Pittsburgh 4.5, and Cincinnati had a doubleheader today against the Cubbies. They entered play at 5 games behind Milwaukee.
Cincinnati won both ends of the doubleheader. Sharply hit. Kawasaki to his right. Nice play on the backhand. Calhoun is retired.
Save during the plumbing, cooling, and electrical expert sale. Only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Homeowners helping homeowners with expert advice.
Beautiful Anaheim, California, Angels Stadium. Second game of a 3-game series. It's a 1-0 Blue Jays lead. R.A. Dickey has retired 12 straight Angels. Mike Trout has flied out to center and flied out to right. This is the 3rd anniversary of Mike Trout's debut in the major leagues. He was called up 3 years ago on July 8th. And it's interesting, Mike Trout has done something no one else has done in the first 3 years of their careers. He's hit 300 with 80 home runs and 80 stolen bases. What a combination.
Ever in the history of the game.
And that's a long time.
History is a long time. Over 100 years. 80 home runs and 80 steals. I mean, that's what this game is built around, right? Power and speed. This guy's got both of those.
The only player in Major League history to compile a 300 batting average with 80 home runs and 80 stolen bases.
Not Willie Mays. Not Hank Aaron. Not Joe DiMaggio.
A lot of great players.
Not Mickey Mantle. That is something else.
Full count, 2 outs. There's a drive to left field. This could be extra bases. Trout is around first. He's headed for second. The ball gets away from Melky Cabrera. Trout's headed for third. Here's the throw. It's on time, and he's out. Melky Cabrera picks up his 6th outfield assist. Mike Trout was in scoring position at second, but forced the hand of Cabrera, and he threw a strike to third. Trout picks up the 2nd hit of the night. Melky Cabrera throws a 1-hop strike to third, and Tollison puts the tag on Mike Trout. It's still a 1-0 Blue Jays lead. hit a 2-out double in a 1-run game and then tried to force the issue. He challenged the arm of Melky Cabrera, and that didn't work.
Ball got by Cabrera in left field. So Trout put his head down and then just took off. Thought he could pick up an extra 90 feet, but Melky recovers and throws a strike to third base. Look at the pick by Tollison also, and then he gets the glove down in front of the bag, tags Mike Trout before he gets to the bag. The mistake that Trout made, he was already in scoring position, and he had Albert Pujols coming up. But he is an exciting player with great speed. You can see he's thinking two right now. Plays in front of him. He sees that Melky misses it. Now he's got his head down. He's not even looking to see where the ball is. And runs right into an out.
24th double of the season for Trout. 6th outfield assist for Melky Cabrera. A nice scoop on the one-hop throw by Steve Tollison at third. Darren Mastriani in the 7th spot hits it on the ground. Ibar quickly to first. One down in the 7th. Well, Mike Trout, we talk about his accomplishments. Every once in a while, he reminds you that he's 22. And that was a situation right there. You got one of the best hitters we've seen in the last 15 years coming up to the plate in a 1-0 game. No reason to try to get to third base.
No. And I think that's what Don Baylor, the hitting coach, is talking to him about on the bench right there.
Don Baylor grew up in the Orioles system, came to the big leagues while Earl Weaver was the manager, and those lessons were a little bit sterner under Earl Weaver than they are in today's game.
Still have to learn those lessons, though. That's a play in a 1-run game. Maybe in a tie game, you could try something like that. I still don't know. Not with Pujols coming up.
Pujols is the next hitter.
Yeah,
that's a tough thing to do. Munenori Kawasaki had a single his last time out. Hit a curveball into left field, and he put a nice swing on it.
He's had a nice road trip for the Blue Jays.
How about a 277 average since his recall from AAA Buffalo?
He's been facing all these left-handers. You know, we've been making such a big deal about the Blue Jays facing all these lefties. Well, he's a left-handed hitter, and he's done a good job. And his game is just to serve the ball to left field. Cowgill, the left fielder, is really shallow now, shading him towards the line.
Bouncing ball up the first baseline is foul. Kawasaki is 6 for 23 against lefty pitching. He'll give you a good at bat every night. We're in the 7th. It's a 1-0 game. R.A. Dickey shutting out the Angels on 2 hits. Tyler Skaggs has given up 8 hits, but just 1 run. Kawasaki has another hit. He got the high fastball, and he rips it into center field. Mooney is 2 for 3.
Stay hot, Mooney. What a road trip he has put together. Tough pitcher and Skaggs. There it is. There's that patented inside-out swing the other way.
Extremely sound fundamentally. Stays back, uses his hand, chokes up on the bat, goes for bat control. He's 2 for 3. Josh Tolley has a hit. He scored the only run of the game. Kawasaki scored the only run of the game. That was back in the 5th inning.
It was Tolley's hit that got him over to third base. Couple of lefties down at the bottom of the order. The Blue Jays have come through tonight. They've got 3 hits.
They got 3 of the 9 hits in the 8 and 9 spot in the order. Tolley's hit was unusual. It was an 0-2 curveball. And he pulled it through the left side. Kawasaki was running on the pitch, and they went first to third. That set up a race. Mike Morin is loosening up for the Angels.
Kawasaki's got a very big lead at first base.
Two balls and no strikes to Josh Thole.
They started the runner also. You were just talking about the 0-2 curveball that totally hit in the right field for a base hit. They started the runner. It's a good time to start the runner here.
Yeah, you create an opening on the infield if you start Kawasaki, but he's got to make sure that the pitcher goes home. Not running. Good rip by Thole. Josh had 2 hits in his last start in Oakland. He went 2 for 3 in that ball game against Sonny Gray. Got a hit tonight. Blue Jays will wrap up the West Coast portion of this road trip tomorrow afternoon. They'll send Marcus Stroman to the mound against C.J. Wilson, another left-hander. And then they'll head down to St. Petersburg, have an off day on Thursday before they open up a 3-game series against the Rays. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thole hits it to left. Cowgill was shaded over near the line. He makes the pitch. Drive the Game is brought to you by the 2014 Honda Civic, Canada's best-selling car 16 years in a row, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
5th inning for the Blue Jays. They've had a couple of runners on, finally get a guy in scoring position, and Jose Reyes with the drive of the game into right center field. This breaks an 0 for 25 for the Blue Jays on this road trip with runners in scoring position. That's the only runner to touch home plate tonight.
Great swing by Reyes as he had a line drive approach and ripped that line drive into center. Big wild swing and he falls behind 0-1.
That swing was controlled. The base hit that he had to right field, it was controlled. He used his hands. Didn't try and muscle. He's been hitting a lot of balls in the air on this road trip.
Once again, I think that's a product of the struggles of the team overall. Everybody thinks, hey, if I hit a home run, we're going to score some runs. And Reyes is not a home run hitter. He's got 6 home runs, but his best approach is line drive, gap to gap.
Yeah, that's right. He's got bat speed. That's where his home runs come from. Tremendous bat speed.
There's a fly ball deep to left field. Colin Cowgill is back. He is a home run hitter. A 2-run home run by Jose Reyes, his 7th of the season and his 3rd hit of the night.
There's that bat speed. Looked like he turned on an inside pitch right there from Skaggs. 10 hits now, and Jose Reyes has driven in all 3 runs for the Blue Jays tonight. 7th home run. Wild swing, like you were saying, on that first pitch, and then he got it under control. Just used the hands. Little breathing room for the Blue Jays.
Big hit by Reyes, and he's a happy camper now. 3-hit night, his first home run since June 25th, when he led off the game against Hiroki Kuroda with a first pitch home run. That was at Rogers Center. Blue Jays would eventually lose to Kuroda.
Here it is again. Watch where this pitch is. in. Now the hands came through quickly. That's where you get the bat speed, and that's where he gets his pop.
Donaldson fouls off the curveball. Reyes is driven in all 3 runs tonight. That's a season high in RBIs for Reyes. First time he's had 3 ribbies in a game. Another curveball. Donaldson with a 2-hit night. That might do it for Tyler Skaggs. And here comes Mike Scioscia. There's the call to the bullpen. So the Blue Jays, after suffering defeat at the hands of Tyler Skaggs back in May at Rogers Center, have a 3-0 lead as they put up 3 runs on 11 hits against Skaggs. He'll turn things over to Mike Morin, the right-hander, coming in to face Melky Cabrera when we come back to Anaheim. Jose Reyes with a big smile, his 7th 3-hit game of the season, his first 3 RBI game of the season. Juan Francisco saying, boy, that just barely got over the fence. That's not the way I hit him. And Jose Reyes says, I'll take it. It's a 3-0 game.
The old paint scraper, right? Now that had plenty of distance. This is Mike Moore in 30 games this year for the big right-hander. He was an Angels number 12th round draft pick back in 2012. Now the University of North Carolina, good fastball, slider, and a very high-quality changeup. He, too, is around the plate. 29 strikeouts and just 9 walks this year.
Warren grew up in Kansas City. He went to high school in Overland Park, Kansas, and still makes his home in that Kansas City area. This is his first season in the big leagues, his 3rd professional season. He's made it quickly through the minor leagues. Melky Cabrera.
Well, you talk about the distance of this home run. They had plenty of distance, so much so that Todd Redmond says, I got it right in the cap. How about that?
Ball in the cap. Man, that's a welcome sight for the Blue Jays. They haven't hit many home runs on this trip. Second home run. Nice play by Pujols. He steps on the bag, and that ends the inning. Morin gets out of it. But the Blue Jays have taken the lead. Jose Reyes, a big night. 3 hits, a home run, 3 RBIs. It's all Reyes offensively. It's all Dickey on the mound. Angels here in the 7th inning. Angels trail by 3. Albert Pujols will come to the plate with nobody on and nobody out. That's where you want to face Albert Pujols. When you look at the active hitters and all-time home runs, Albert Pujols leads the way. He's got 511 career home runs, and he is about ready to pass some Hall of Famers.
Yeah, right now he is tied with Mel Ott for 23rd all-time on the home run list. Eddie Matthews, Ernie Banks right ahead of him with 512. He also has 1,556 career RBIs, which ranks 41st all-time.
R.A. Dickey delivers a high pitch, ball 1. Little cushion for Dickey now. He's got a 3-0 lead. Pujols 0 for 2 tonight. He is 0 for 7 against Dickey in his career. Waves at that high knuckleball. He was swinging from the moment Dickey turned it loose.
Yeah, thank you very much. That looked like it was going to be ball 3. Well, that evens the count at 2-2.
Upstairs he lays off. Pulled on the ground. Nice hop for Tollison at third. Pujols is out. Dickey had retired 13 in a row, and then Mike Trout hit a double, but he was thrown out at third trying to advance, trying to stretch it to a triple. Now he gets Pujols to start the 7th.
Looms big right here because Pujols was coming up, and then Hamilton in a 1-run game. He hasn't been in the stretch since the 2nd inning.
This is a fly ball, long run for Melky Cabrera. He gets there, and Hamilton is retired. 2 outs. For breaking news, stats, and stories, follow us on Twitter at Sportsnet. A lot of the insiders will bring you up to speed on Twitter. If you log on to @Sportsnet, they'll keep you informed about everything going on with the Blue Jays. Sounds like there might be a roster move tomorrow, as Cole Gillespie may have to go on a disabled list with an oblique strain. Remember, it's a quick turnaround. We'll be back here at 12:30 local time for the start of the finale of this 3-game series. Marcus Stroman coming off a strong start against the Athletics. Matchup against C.J. Wilson, the left-hander. Ibar punches it through the left side. Reyes throws on the run, and Ibar beats it out. Boy, Reyes got a lot on that throw, and here comes John Gibbons. Ibar hustling out of the box, and Gibbons asked for the review without even waiting on the replay. Jim Wolf is the umpire at first base. He will go to the headset, and Brian Gorman will join him, the crew chief.
I would have saved my my challenge right here on the play. There's 2 outs. Clearly, he looked safe from where we are. That's just a tough play for Reyes. But in this ball game, I would have saved my challenge for another time. You might need it. Clearly safe.
Reyes had been talking about his shoulder, been barking at him for a while. We have not seen any indications of it tonight. He got a lot on that throw, and he didn't have a chance to plant his foot.
He's made 2 plays like that today, where he had to backhand the ball in the hole like that, throw on the run, and threw strikes over to first base.
Colin Cowgill, he threw out to end the 5th on a similar play. He got a lot on that throw, and it was a good, strong throw. So the umpires have the decision, and Brian Gorman, the crew chief, indicates safe. So the call on the field holds. It's a 2-out single for Ibar, his 2nd hit tonight. He's 2 for 3.
2-out infield single that looked like a base hit clearly. And we have a challenge.
So Howie Kendrick has been held hitless so far. He's 0 for 2. He had a 3-hit game last night. Cuts on the first pitch and swings right through it. We mentioned Kendrick coming into this game with a .292 career average. That's 23rd among active players in the big leagues. There are only 12 active 300 hitters in baseball. Boy, that is a patented Kendrick hit. Reimold over quickly. He's got to hustle it back in. He gets it to the cutoff man, Kawasaki. Back-to-back 2-out hits.
Hole on the right side of the infield. He really closes off that front shoulder and stays in there. That allows him to shoot that ball to right field and hit it hard with authority. You don't hit 290 plus as a career hitter just trying to pull everything. Knuckleball away. Watch how that front shoulder stays in there. And he shoots it there hard. Ibar's got to let that ball get by him, and he makes it easily to third.
Kendrick 1 for 3 is now 11 for 22 against the Blue Jays this season, even .500. Former Blue Jay Alfredo Griffin is the longtime first base coach here. Dustin McGowan loosening up in a hurry for the Blue Jays. Feed Walker out to talk to Dickey and give McGowan a few more pitches down in the bullpen. So Walker has his say. He is back to the dugout. Rally monkeys are out here in Anaheim. And Chris Iannetta, the catcher, who has gone 0 for 1 with a walk so far. Infield single. Line single to right. First and third, 2 outs. Home run cut on that high knuckleball.
Teams have had success against the knuckleball when they shorten up their swing and use the whole field. You want these guys up there who have the long swing and they're thinking about the long ball. That plays right into his hand.
Bouncing ball to third. Tollison rights himself. Guns across the diamond. The inning is over. The Angels threaten with a couple of 2-out hits, but they leave a pair. We'll go to the 8th. Dickey shutting out the Angels. Coming off the disabled list. He missed almost a month with a hamstring problem. He goes 6 in, 2/3 tonight. Blue Jays hit 11 hits off him, and they turned those 11 hits into 3 runs. Didn't walk a batter, struck out just 2, and threw 104 pitches. So the Blue Jays much better game against Tyler Skaggs tonight than the first time they faced him back in May.
Figured him out early. They had a hit in every inning, but the 6th inning tonight against Skaggs figured him out that his fastball was not in a good spot tonight. His breaking ball was just tumbling. It didn't have the sharp downward spin the last time. A couple of change-ups thrown in there, but it's good to see 11 hits in 7 innings for the Blue Jays.
Jose Bautista is 0 for 3 so far tonight. Breaking ball up and in. He had to bail out in a hurry. Mike Morin retired the only batter he faced in the 7th, Melky Cabrera. There's a shot down into the seats on the left field side. Blue Jays with 3 runs on 11 hits. They've stranded 6 base runners so far. Bautista rips it into left field. Cowgill over quickly to play it back into the infield. Bautista with a leadoff single in the 8th. That's the 12th Blue Jay hit tonight.
Much better approach at the plate by the Blue Jays, recognizing that pitch. Just a matter of time. This is what John Gibbons was talking about before the game. Got to get some guys hot. We got to start swinging the bats as a team. Start picking up our share of base hits, and we've done that tonight.
Nolan Raimo with his first 2 Blue Jay hits. A couple of doubles tonight. He's 2 for 3. Bautista faked the break towards second and wasn't running. Raimo improved the Blue Jays' attack against lefty pitching. A couple of hits tonight against Tyler Skaggs. Albert Pujols and Jose Bautista, 2 of the premier hitters in baseball. Pujols with 511 home runs. A breaking ball, and Raimo strikes out. One down here in the 8th. That's only the 3rd strikeout the Blue Jays have had tonight.
That was his changeup. It's an outstanding changeup. He can actually cut and run that changeup. That time he really cut it away from Raimo to pick up the strikeout.
Janner Navarro is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. He's the DH tonight. John Gibbons has had to mix and match his lineup with several different combinations. Cole Gillespie was destined to be the DH against the left-handed starter, but he's got an oblique strain. There's that changeup you were talking about.
It's outstanding. High quality changeup. Throws a lot of strikes with it.
Barnes, 23 years old. As we mentioned, this is just his 3rd professional season. He went to spring training as a non-roster invitee simply because he didn't have to be on the major league roster yet, but pitched so well he made the ball club. Pitched in the Arizona Fall League during the off season. You see a lot of pitchers really gain their confidence pitching in that Fall League.
Aaron Sanchez and Marcus Stroman both went to the Arizona Fall League.
Bautista read the ball in the dirt, and it gets away from Ibar. Well, Bautista was a dead duck at second had Ibar caught the ball. Bautista reading the ball in the dirt, broke quickly towards second. Ineta handled it perfectly, but Ibar couldn't make the catch.
Come off the bag and make the catch, and he's out. Went up the slide to try and catch that throw from Iannetta. He comes up, picks it, stays on his feet, and he's going to be out.
Navarro now with the runner in scoring position. Gets a piece of that changeup, stays alive. Blue Jays lead at 3-0. They have been hard pressed to score runs. They scored 4 runs in the 4 games in Oakland, 2 runs last night. They've got a 3-run lead here tonight. There's a base hit to left field. Bautista got a good break. He's going to score easily. Deanna Navarro with a single to left center drives home Bautista. That's a big insurance run for the Jays here in the 8th.
13 hits now, 4 runs, and a good approach right there from Deanna. Hit by a pitch his first time, then 0 for 2, and then goes down and gets down. It looked like he tried to slip a fastball by him, and he was going to have nothing to do with that. RBI number 35, 4-0 Blue Jays.
So Bautista's stolen base is cashed in by Deanna Navarro. And Bautista's dealing with some sort of physical ailment. We saw him earlier in the game reacting as if maybe he tweaked something in the back. We have no idea, obviously, but George Poulos attending to him down there. He also had a hard slide and may have gotten a strawberry at second base on that stolen base. Bautista's 4th steal immediately results in a run, now 4-0. Mastriani hits it to McDonald. He makes a quick throw to second, back to first. What a double play. John McDonald starts the 5-4-3 inning-ending double play. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Eric Smith and Greg Zahn. Tonight, shutting out the Angels on just 4 hits. He goes 7 innings. He walked 1 batter, struck out 5 and threw 96 pitches. So he leaves with a 4-0 lead. And he'll turn things over to the bullpen, and Dustin McGowan will be first out.
They stretched him out through 26 pitches his last start, just 96 today to get through 7 innings. It's a good move right here. He had a good knuckleball today. He was throwing it for strikes. He was reaching back for a little bit more. Through a lot of strikes, just 1 walk. He'll give way to Dustin McGowan. Now in 27 games this season, Dustin is 4-3 with a 397 earned run average. Fastball and a hard slider for McGowan. He has taken over for John Gibbons in the 8th inning, pitching just ahead of Casey Jansen. And now calls into this game to hold this 4-run lead.
You can see the rally monkeys here. They have given away Cowboy rally monkeys tonight. And here's what they show in the Jumbotron in between innings. Of course, the great Clint Eastwood cowboy movies, and then the rally monkey pops up in the middle of a gunfight.
Got the eyes going. Look at it. Yeah, just like the other guys. Right.
Well, you can see the rally monkeys were part of a giveaway tonight. Dustin McGowan will work to 8-9-1 here in the 8th inning. Blue Jays trying to snap a 7-game road losing streak. They've lost every game on this road trip so far, 0-5 through Oakland and here into Anaheim.
A little bit different fastball coming at those Angels hitters now. R.A. Dickey's knuckleball, and now you got to deal with McGowan's fastball.
Tough to turn it up quickly after you've been dealing with a 79 to 80 mile an hour knuckleball. Now you got to catch up to a 96 mile an hour heater.
That'll mess up your timing, won't it? 97 with that heater.
1 ball, 2 strikes, the leadoff man here in the bottom of the 8th. McGowan thought that was strike 3.
Not a bad idea. Pitching at the back end of the rotation now in that bullpen. You don't have to trick anybody. When you've got an arm like Dustin McGowan, use your number one. Use your best pitch. Use your fastball. Mix in a slider here and there. You're going to have some success.
There's the fastball and the strikeout. First out of the 8th inning. R.A. Dickey, 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. He had a good knuckleball tonight.
Really baffled, I think, with these Los Angeles Angels hitters. They're good fastball hitters, and when you're able to throw the knuckleball like he did all night long within the strike zone, and then you change speeds with it, good hitting teams, and this is a good hitting team. They've been averaging 6 runs a game during this 14-3 streak that they have been on here at home. R.A. Dickey gave up just 4 hits in 7 innings.
David Freese has come off the bench to bat for John McDonald. Dickey with a good start. Casey Jansen, the closer, loosening up down in the Blue Jays bullpen. Freese hitting for McDonald. Good breaking ball. Ball on the strike.
Pretty good spot right there, that breaking ball.
Freese had a pinch hit home run on Saturday. First pinch hit by an Angel player since last September. First pinch hit home run. He's hit 2 home runs in his last 6 games. He's also been swinging a hot bat, .370 average over his last 14 games. Base hit for David Freese. I told you he was a hot hitter, and he steps up and delivers a pinch single with 1 out in the 8th.
Heard that fastball around right there from McGowan. Will also turn over the lineup.
Cole Calhoun 0 for 3. Bautista with some encouraging words for McGowan. Calhoun last night had a double. It was officially 1 for 4. He walked and scored a run. Blue Jays just need to tick off the outs. No free passes.
Yeah, pound that strike zone and force the Angels to hit their way on.
Line drive into center. Mastriani coming in quickly, makes the catch. Calhoun's retired. He's 0 for 4.
Playing deep and getting a chance to play in the outfield. Mastriani slides in to make that catch. That's it. You're right. Count out those outs right here.
Mike Trout is the DH. He had a double in the 6th with 2 outs, but was out trying to stretch it into a triple. Trout with that double has tied Edwin Encarnacion for the lead in extra base hits in the American League. They both have 49 extra base hits. Chopped toward third. It bounces foul. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Blue Jays have had a breakout offensive game tonight. 4 runs on 13 hits.
Been a while. Ran into a hot team in Oakland, a hot pitching staff who shut them down. They only scored a couple of runs there. Jose Reyes has led the charge tonight. His 2-run home run in the 7th inning gave them some breathing room for R.A. Dickey. He's been sensational.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Blue Jays had scored 6 runs in the first 5 games of this road trip, and they tallied 4 tonight. They just haven't scored many runs lately at all. They scored 7 against Milwaukee in the final game of that homestand, as they swept the Brewers in the mini 2-game series.
Thought that home run by Encarnacion, that walk-off to end that homestand, would really propel them, but well, they ran into a good team at Oakland.
Full count, 2 outs. Freeze is off on the pitch. Flying ball into shallow right. Long run for Kawasaki. What an effort. What a catch. Once again, the Blue Jays outfielders play up against the wall, and Kawasaki had a long run. He was the only one that was going to get to it. And he makes up his mind to catch it. Great defense by Kawasaki. Long run from his position at second. He takes a hit away from Mike Trout. We'll go to the ninth. 4-0 Jays. Big night at the plate. He's got a couple of hits and scored a run, and he's had a big night in the field.
How about this? Outfield very deep, so no chance for Reimold to get this ball. So Kawasaki says, I got it all the way right over his shoulder. He's had about 3 or 4 of these plays on this road trip. And that time the ball finds the glove, and high fives all around when he makes it into the dugout for the Blue Jay. That was a great catch.
It sure was, and he knew the right fielder Reimold was deep, so he was the only one that had a shot at it. He put his head down and ran it down. Cam Bedrosian has just been called back up from AAA. He appeared in 6 games. He was sent back to the minor leagues in June, and he has been called up. He's joined the team here this afternoon.
If that name looks familiar to you baseball fans, that's the son of Steve Bedrosian, a high draft pick, and now finds his way to the big leagues. Made his major league debut on June the 3rd at Houston, threw an inning and had a strikeout in that game. Throws hard.
Got the pitch in front of his father in Atlanta, June 14th and 15th. And he is back up, and they're going to utilize him. They called him up, and they sent Grant Green back to the minor leagues, an infielder. So now they've added an extra arm in their bullpen. Mike Morin gave up a run in an inning and a third. Now Bedrosian will work to Kawasaki. It's this one to center. Josh Hamilton is right there to make the grab. One down here in the ninth. Boy, Blue Jays were in desperate need of a win, and it's not over just yet, but they have a 4-0 lead. McGowan with a strong inning of work in the 8th. This would snap a 5-game streak on this road trip. 7 games overall on the road they've lost in a row.
That'll cut the win streak by the Angels, and they'll fall 1 game short of a organizational record.
They have won 11 straight games here at home. They've had a 12-game win streak back in '67. It would also push them back under 500 as a franchise. They were the only expansion team in baseball history to have a 500 record with that win yesterday.
They also have 3 ties.
You play a long time, and eventually you're going to have a tie or 2. The Angels franchise began play in 1961. They started playing here in Southern California at Wrigley Field in Los Angeles. That's right, Wrigley Field in Los Angeles. Back to the mound. Bedrosian knocks it down, throws to first. 1 down. Jose Reyes has had a big night all over the diamond.
Yeah, the catalyst for the Blue Jays tonight has been Jose Reyes. This is going to late a run for the Blue Jays. Snapped an 0 for 25 with runners in scoring position. Got the first run on the board, and now playing some defense. Into the hole to make that play there, and then this was the big hit right here off of Skaggs. Tyler Skaggs serves up the 2-run home run that pushes that lead from 1-0 to 3-0. And Jose is having a big night.
How about a 4-hit night for Reyes? Boy, he needed that. The Blue Jays needed him to come through. His first 3 RBI game of the season. His 7th 3-hit game. And he has a 4-hit game now. 14 hits for the Blue Jays.
And his night started with that little blooper to right field to get things going. Change your mindset after a blooper falls in. And he followed up with 3 more hits to give him 4.
First 4-hit game of the season for Reyes. Steve Tollison's had a 2-hit game. He went 2 for 4 against Tyler Skaggs. His single in the 7th knocked Skaggs out of the game.
Don't think that Jose Reyes will be running right here. 4-run lead. He's been playing every day. He's been on base 4 times tonight.
Oh, and 2 to Thomason. R.A. Dickey in line for his 7th win. That would improve his record to 7-8. He was good tonight. He was good in Oakland. Took a loss at the hands of the A's. Lost 4-1. It was a 2-1 game going in the bottom of the 8th.
Now that's 6 games in his last 7 starts that he has allowed 3 earned runs or less. He lost his last 4 decisions, although his ERA over that span was 3.7. Just couldn't pick up a win. Blue Jays weren't scoring him any runs.
With 7 shutout innings tonight, R.A. Dickey's ERA drops to 3.86. 7 more innings, he's up to 119 innings for the season. That moves him into the top 10 in the American League. David Price is the leader in innings so far. He's thrown 139 2/3. King Felix Hernandez is second with 136 1/3. So Dickey now is in the top 10. There goes Reyes, cut on and missed, and that'll end the inning. Collison strikes out. Reyes gets his 4th hit, but he's stranded in the 9th. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th. The Blue Jays have a 4-0 lead, trying to snap a 5-game losing streak. Fans, a reminder coming up after this ball game. It'll be connected as they will break down all the day's action in Major League Baseball. World Cup, big surprise in the World Cup semis. Germany really manhandled Brazil today, and they'll break it all down for you coming up right after this ball game. Aaron Loup into the ball game. Dustin McGowan had a good inning of work. He allowed a single and a strikeout in the 8th. Now Aaron Loup
Non-save situation right here, but a chance for the Blue Jays to nail it down with Aaron Loup. You got a left-hander in Hamilton. He'll face Pujols first. There are the numbers for Loup. He has handled the lefties this year. First batter he'll face, though, is Albert Pujols.
First pitch is outside the Pujols. Albert's gone 0 for 3 today. Angels have 5 hits. Reyes. Bautista. 1 now. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Connect. Here's James Sadowski. That's coming up right after the ball game, so make sure you stay tuned. Josh Hamilton took a shot at that third base bag as that shift was on, and he just missed an extra base hit. Hamilton is 0 for 3. Bouncing ball, Kawasaki at second. Angels down to their final out. Luke gets 2 ground ball outs here in the ninth. Marcus Stroman will go to the mound trying to improve upon his 4-2 record. He'll be opposed by yet another left-hander, C.J. Wilson, for the Angels. It'll be the 3rd and final game of this series here in Anaheim. Blue Jays will then get on the plane and fly to St. Petersburg, Florida, to enjoy an off day on Thursday before they have a series against the Rays.
Marcus was very impressive in his last start. 7 innings, 215 pitches against the Oakland A's. That was the game that the Blue Jays lost in 12 innings, 1-0. He only gave up 3 hits.
Eric Ibar takes one in the dirt. Ball and a strike. A reminder, the pregame show with Eric Smith and Greg Zahn will start tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And we'll be right after that pregame show. R.A. Dickey in line for his 7th win of the season. 7 shutout innings. He allowed just 4 hits. This should do it. Reyes hits short. Ball game. Blue Jays snapped their 5-game losing streak and 7 straight losses on the road.
Came out firing offensively. They got a hit in every inning, put 1 in the 6th inning. They kept the pressure on from the first pitch tonight. Jose Reyes, the catalyst. Munenori Kawasaki, a couple of more hits for him. R.A. Dickey finished it off. Blue Jays break that losing streak, and there'll be some smiling faces in that clubhouse tonight.
4-0 shutout for the Blue Jays. They have split the first 2 games. A rubber game tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon. Stay tuned. Connected. Coming right up.